Running a successful campaign is like participating in a long speed dating exercise, with many opportunities to make a quick impression. On Election Day, you find out whether these activities have resulted in you being selected to represent your community for the next 4 years. That may sound nerve-wracking, but the women we spoke with also described campaigning as engaging, enjoyable, and a great way to learn more about the issues facing their community. These were women elected in Grey Bruce and others who volunteered on winning teams. They all gladly shared their suggestions for talking with voters, which could be at their doorstep or at events, or through campaign material, traditional advertising, and in some cases, social media. It all starts with knowing the answers to 3 very important questions. Why are you running? Why should I vote? And why should I vote for you? In earlier classes, we covered how to create your story about why you are running for office. electHER now has a resource that may help with this exercise. You can request it online. Why people should vote in municipal elections is pretty easy to answer. By providing so many local services, municipal government touches daily life like no other. Grey Bruce is a 2-tier system. Services are split between the municipality and the county. Members of the county council are made up of elected municipal officials. The next election will decide who sits at both the municipal and county council tables. So voting really matters. As you speak with voters, you may find that there is some confusion about who does what. electHER now has another resource called Learn About the Job. It covers the responsibilities of different levels of government in Canada. Review it, then visit your county website so you are knowledgeable about the exact split of responsibilities before these conversations begin. Why should I vote for you? This question could be viewed as a challenge, but it's really an invitation to tell people more about yourself. Start by sharing your experience, your skills, and your commitment. Don't take negative responses personally, and do remain positive about those who have served on council in the past. It's a job that requires lots of time and commitment, and these people have played their part. End each conversation with your thanks and encourage them to vote. Canvassing or knocking on doors gets people elected, especially those running for office for the first time. Putting in this effort will increase knowledge of your campaign, demonstrate you are committed to working hard, and teach you a lot about your community. You'll discover streets and houses you never knew existed, while learning more about how government is impacting people where they live. People tend to vote for candidates they find relatable. Here's your opportunity to make a personal connection and build trust with voters. Be friendly and genuine. Always leave your campaign literature and ask for their vote. If their response is positive, ask if they would like a lawn sign. Knocking on doors is a numbers game, and you want to speak with as many people as possible. So this may not be the time for a lengthy chat. If you get bogged down with someone who likes to talk about politics, find a way to politely shorten the visit and move on. Your material will have your contact details in case they have more questions. End on a positive note by asking for their vote. Bring along a clipboard to record contact information for those who have questions. If the candidate isn't with you, they can call or email later. Keep a record of those who agree to display a lawn sign for use by the sign team. Don't forget to bring a map and mark off the areas you cover. A few of us have been known to knock on the same door twice. The first few times you go knocking on doors, you may also wish to record the number of people you spoke with and how many pieces of campaign literature you gave out. Don't go alone. It's not just a safety thing, it's also a good idea to have a witness to conversations. Others can jot down questions or comments to review later. If you go out as a team, it'll be a lot more fun. In more urban settings, you can split up to work both sides of the street at once. Sending volunteers ahead will help conserve the candidate's time and energy to engage with interested people, rather than putting literature into the mailboxes of people who aren't at home. Allow more time for door knocking in rural settings that include long drives down laneways. You'll discover candidate visits are rare and greatly appreciated. If you run short on time, drop your material with a handwritten "Sorry I missed you" message into the mailboxes at the main road to show you were in their neck of the woods. Especially this year, Respect people's space and maintain a physical distance. You can be friendly without shaking hands or entering people's homes. Use hand sanitizer often and bring sunscreen, a water bottle, and throat lozenges for your voice. Bring campaign literature, including some with prepared "Sorry I missed you" messages. A volunteer with a clipboard and a backpack is also a true asset. Have a few dog treats for pets you encounter, but don't bring your own dog. Some people are shy around animals, and these encounters may be unpleasant. And finally, enjoy the time you spend outdoors with friends, even if it's raining. You'll get your steps in, and the voters will be impressed by both your commitment and tenacity. Campaign literature includes flyers, brochures, postcards, door hangers, and mailers. In 2018, the majority of elected candidates spent money on these items. People who intend to vote often keep a pile of them to compare and review closer to Election Day. Your material will leave a lasting impression of you as a candidate and remind voters of your conversation together. Ordering a few canvassing items is easier on your budget and workload. The women we surveyed said they ordered some sort of canvassing leave behind, like a brochure, postcard, or flyer, and thank you cards. Start off by ordering 1 or 2 items, then spend your time getting them into the hands of voters. Color is a great way to tie your material together and create a cohesive look. Canvassing teams will often dress in the same color, so pick one that lifts your spirits. When you create your material, don't write by the pound. Have a few sentences or bullet points that include why you are running and what experience you bring to the job. Include your contact information so the reader can reach you. It's best to set up a new email address for the campaign that highlights your last name, as this will appear on the ballot. Others can help monitor this email for questions or any requests for public appearances. Highlight important voting details on your literature, like the date of Election Day, early voting opportunities, and how someone can make sure they're on the voters list. This information will be helpful and much appreciated. Always take the time to check your material again and again before you place your order. People remember typos and spelling and grammatical errors. Have several people check your material. Give them the time to do it twice. Professional proofreaders read through for flow and grammar first. Then they read it backwards, word for word, to catch any errors before printing. Before you order, know the number of households in your municipality. Then estimate how many pieces you will need for your canvassing purposes. If you decide to do a mailing later, you can always reorder your item or order something less expensive. The typical printing turnaround time is 10 business days, so with careful planning, you can avoid having thousands of printed items left over at the end of your campaign. In 2018, signs were the single largest expense item for most campaigns. When they're designed and displayed properly, campaign signs make a very public statement across your community. Today, more and more people are considering the environmental impact of disposable, single-use plastic. Sturdier signs that can be used again in the future can be a wise investment. Your municipality sets rules for campaign signs, including where and when they can be displayed. This information will be included in the campaign package you receive when you file your nomination papers. Rules tend to cover the distance from either the road or sidewalk, and if they can be placed on public land. You will need to get permission from any private landowners prior to placing a sign on their property. Not everyone in your community will follow the rules, but make sure your team does. It's an offense to tamper with election signs. If you have any concerns, report them directly to the municipality. Think of your sign as a billboard. Readers have just a few moments to view it, so make sure you only include essential information. Make your name the focal point and use large wording. Some candidates include their photos and others do not. Just remember, the name is the most important part of your sign. Include the words elect, re-elect, or for council to remind people of the election. Use your campaign color on the signs to tie into other material they may have previously seen. You can also always add stickers to existing signs in the future when you run again or run for another position. Make sure there's enough contrast between the background color and the wording for easy visibility. Whenever possible, use local sign companies. They have lots of experience in what works and can help guide you in the design. It's what they do. Include your contact information in case your sign is damaged or discovered elsewhere. That leads us to C. Carefully monitor your signs and clean up afterwards. Start with a map of your municipality. Gather the lists of those who have requested a lawn sign and plot where you can get the best coverage. Consider high traffic areas first. To help manage signs, consider numbering them and keep a record of where they are placed. Set a few aside to replace any that go missing or get damaged. If a second one goes missing from the same location, don't bother replacing it. Generally speaking, campaign signs are to be cleaned up within a few days following the election. Check your local sign rules and plan for this activity. Your location sheets will help you find them, and the numbering system will help you retrieve them all. Advertising was the third largest average expense in 2018. The amount spent varied greatly across municipalities. Naturally, the highest spending was in areas with their own local news organizations. Effectiveness in advertising is all about the message and the number of times it's heard, and that costs money. Making the decision to pay for advertising will have a big impact on your budget. Online advertising options may be a more cost-effective way to reach your audience, either with local online community news outlets or your own social media platforms. Elections are of interest to local media, and they are looking for ways to keep this in the news. Send out a press release when you make your announcement to run. If you plan a social gathering, invite the local press to come and take pictures. If you like to write opinion letters, why not send a letter to the editor? It can be a longer version of your Why I'm Running story, relating to a current topic of interest. Reach out to local radio and community TV hosts. They are always looking for guests and may give you the opportunity to come in and chat on air. Think about the message you want to get across and mention it often in the interview, especially at the end. Short sentences work, and don't be afraid to bring along a few notes. You may be approached by someone in the media to express an opinion about a particular issue. If you aren't ready to comment, ask if you can call them back a little later. Yes, they are working on a deadline, but you can still take the time to collect your thoughts and prepare your answer. If you expect the media to be at an event, be prepared with a quote and seek them out to chat. Once you gain experience knocking on doors and speaking with others in your community, this will become easier to do. Don't forget, local reporters and hosts are voters too. Having an online presence is becoming more and more important. The online world has become a credible source of community information. It's a place to voice opinions and to stay connected. Creating your own website is easy with an online supplier like Squarespace. Options come with templates and cost between $300 to $500 to build and maintain throughout the campaign, if the work is done by you or a willing volunteer. You can put lots of information on your website. However, you will need to spend time and money encouraging people to visit it. Statistica.ca reports that over 80% of Canadians are on at least one social media platform. With this level of participation, many candidates are beginning to use social media to get their message out and interact with voters. Facebook is the leading platform in Canada by far and has an easy-to-manage post scheduling system. Instagram appeals to a younger audience and works best with simple messages and high-impact visuals. Twitter is geared to shorter conversations through exchanges of quick, frequent messages. Time flies online, so it's best to have a plan. How often will you post? How much of your activity will you share? And what kind of content will you feature? Take lots of photos during your campaign for social media content. Just make sure to get permission to post the photos from anyone who can be identified, or before you tag others. Social media really works when the posts are created by people who love it. If you don't love social media, find someone who does. If you decide to use social media, create engagement rules for each platform and post them. If someone isn't following the rules, you don't need to continue to engage them. Just point them to the rules as the reason you will not be responding to their comment. Prepare some responses to negative comments in advance and stick to your script. You will rarely win an argument on social media, so why try? Communicate simple messages in your posts and keep them positive. When boosting posts and running ads, limit the target area so you can maximize the dollars spent. Don't spread yourself too thin by trying to maintain a presence across all platforms. Focus on the one or two that you can easily manage. When paying to boost a post, follow the online rules for election content so they aren't rejected. Perhaps most importantly, don't take negative comments personally. If comments are angry or abusive, message them privately, pointing them to your engagement rules, and ask for the comments to be removed. If they are not, you are within your rights to remove the comments and block the user from future commenting. There's a lot of good online. You can create and maintain your presence there on your own terms. When a few people make a lot of noise, it's easy to forget that most people online are there to learn, engage with others in a positive way, and be supportive. Class 3 has covered a lot of ground with tips for knocking on doors, creating effective material, using advertising, working with the media, and creating an online presence. These are all ways to get your message out in the busy campaign period ahead. In May, the electHER Now website will be updated to highlight campaign resources. Think of it as an online shopping center with lots of information, open 24 hours a day, and everything is free. You will find answers to frequently asked questions, links to YouTube videos, and tip sheets. Volunteers will respond to emails and connect those who wish to chat with experienced people under the Election Connections program. Take the time to visit our website, and thank you for your interest. Together, we can bring more diversity to our local political table.